Today is unlike any other day I have seen in our democracy. President Trump continues to incite hate and violence simply because of the fact that he can't accept he lost re-election. That's the topic we're going to be discussing here tonight, live. So stick around for all of that and much, much more that's coming right. Whoa! Live from Northern California, welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. So that way you won't miss a single thing when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. That's absolutely, positively, 100% correct. I am here to help as many people as possible that are open to my help. Get the best possible grip on your life so that way you can accomplish whatever it is that your heart desires. All right, folks, welcome to the show. Before we get started here, I want to make sure that the notification has gone out on YouTube, and it looks like it has. Let me check out the back end of YouTube real quick here. Give me just a second. It looks like we are rolling normally on YouTube. And let me just make sure that the Facebook stream has started as well, because once again, tonight we are simulcasting live on Facebook, and I've already received some comments regarding this. Sure that the Facebook stream has started as well, because once again, okay, we're looking good. We're looking good. We're rolling well. All right. I've got to start off by saying that I'm at a loss for words. I'm exhausted. I'm out of gas trying to keep up with what's happened today and what's been happening lately to the great nation that I live in here in the United States of America. And before I get started here, well, let me do this. I want to pay my sponsor special props before we get started here. I didn't mention him yesterday. I want to mention it today. This channel sponsor on the YouTube side of things is Troy Brewer. He is the CEO, founder, and owner of the Discover Community Network. For all of your product and service needs from the most trusted professionals in the industry, please consider visiting www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. One more time, that's www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. You can also visit a subsidiary of the Discover Community Network known as the DCN Internet Radio Network. And if you go on that website, you're going to find a bunch of talk and music internet radio stations. And more than likely, one of those talk or music internet radio stations will suit your talk or music genre needs. So if that appeals to you, please consider visiting www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. One more time, that's www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. Both those links are below in the description, about a third of the way down the YouTube side of things. And if you go to either of those websites and also look into how to connect with Troy, if you send Troy an email or call him, please don't fail to mention that Coach Eli sends you with lots and lots of positive love, hugs and kisses, lots of positivity, and more stuff like that. Because I got to say, folks, again, like I was saying at the beginning of this show, I don't even know where to start today. I don't know where to start. There's so much to talk about. There's so much going on. But I will say this before I get started here. I know there are a lot of people out there that think I'm this liberal extremist, which I'm not, that's out here to bash the right. I'm not here to do that. I'll mention this again, like I always mention when I talk about political stuff because I want people to understand. I identify myself as a slight left liberal, but I'm more so down the middle. I like some conservative views and I like some liberal views. And I also don't like some conservative views and I also don't like some liberal views. What I support is what I feel makes sense for the best overall interest of everyone, despite your political party, preference or your choice. To me, it doesn't matter if you're left, right, down the middle, if you're an elephant or a donkey. It doesn't matter. That's all a bunch of crap to me. It's all a bunch of BS. I'll tell you why. Because what matters to me the most is how you are as a human being, how you are as an individual. Do you have a heart? Are you kind, caring, and considerate? Do you treat others the way you'd want to be treated? Are you selfish and inconsiderate, or are you a loving and giving person? Do you give to give, or do you give to get? That's the question, or those are the questions I have to ask you folks. Because this is not about attacking, the left or the right, or attacking anyone. This is about discussing what I feel has been happening to our country lately, especially today, and how it's affecting everyone, including people on the right that feel what President Trump is doing is the right thing to try to protect our country and save America, right? He's going out there saying, save America. And he's got this MAGA thing, make America great again. Well, America was great before he got in office, President Trump, and America will be great when you leave. America has always been great. And you know what makes America great is each individual person that is a citizen of this beautiful country, that works hard to make a living, to provide for their families, that pays their taxes, etc. That's what makes America great. What makes America also great is free enterprise that we have here. What makes America great is the freedom that we have here. That's why many people love coming to this country. But I have to question the way that President Trump has been handling things lately is showing me the complete opposite about all that, because he seems to not care about anything at all regarding anything I mentioned. All he seems to care about is the fact that he lost the election, and he can't admit, he can't accept that he lost. He says he will never concede. He's acting like a sore loser, like a big baby. I've said it many times. I'll say it again. And again, I'm not here to criticize the Trump supporters. I'm not here to criticize anyone. What I'm here to say is that whether you support Trump or not, what Trump is doing, or anyone else that would be doing the same things that Trump is doing, is just not right. So much happened today. I even heard that people in high places have started to question Trump's mental stability. I question his mental and emotional stability myself, because what grown man would behave this way? What normal, loving, down-to-earth grown man would behave this way, especially someone that's the leader of our nation? What type of example does this set for not only our country right now, but our country's future? What example is this president setting for the kids, which will be our future? When I was younger, folks, I really didn't understand politics as much as I do today. And so I had to sit here and think about our kids and what they're seeing and how they're interpreting this and how they're reacting to this. It saddens me. It saddens me completely. Now, before I move further, I want to pay special props. Sorry, I'm losing my verbiage, folks. I'm really not feeling that great about this. This really gets to me. It really gets to me. But I'll make it through the show because I have a lot of things I want to share with you folks here tonight. I really want to share my thoughts in the most loving, professional, and proper ways possible, despite your views, despite your political party choice. I want to thank an anonymous donor behind the scenes who just sent me another $5 donation on Cash App. He's been donating to me quite a lot lately. Sir, if you're watching the show or you watch the replay, I hope you hear what I say here. I will be in touch with you soon. I'm not going to mention who you are. I'm not going to say a whole lot because I don't want people identifying you and coming after you just because you support my show. I appreciate your support. Sir, I will help you free of charge behind the scenes. I know you sent me an email, and I'm not going to get into much detail about it, but you said that you're going through a divorce. And I'd be willing to talk with you behind the scenes and help you out in any way possible. I can only imagine, what you're going through based on modern day divorce laws and modern day dating, which I've talked about many times out here on my channel. I know it's not easy nowadays. It's not easy to find true love, but once you get someone to stick around, it's not easy to keep them around. Then you get married and you can do everything right. And, in many cases, because of the way the world has become, the person you're with, changes. And in many cases, it may have nothing to do with you. You probably did everything right and it just wasn't good enough. And that's what happens to some men and even some women on the flip side that go through it. So, sir, I'm willing to help you out. I will be in touch with you. I'll respond to your email sometime later this week, by the weekend, or even early next week. I've just had a lot going on, but I will help you out, and I greatly appreciate your continued patronage to this channel. You do not need to continue donating. I will still help you, but I'm not going to tell you or anyone what to do. If it makes you happy to sponsor and support this channel at times, it is greatly appreciated. So thank you so much for that. Lewis Fuller's in the house on the YouTube side of things. He says, "Good evening, Coach Eli. I'm watching your ads in full." Well, thank you, Lewis. Hopefully this video won't get demonetized. My video yesterday that I did initially got demonetized, and I submitted it for manual review, and YouTube approved it almost right away. So as long as you talk about this stuff reasonably and you state the facts and you don't say things that aren't true, social media is not going to ban you. Social media wants to hear your thoughts, but they also want you to be reasonable regarding what you're talking about. And the people that get removed from these platforms are just very unreasonable people that are just unhappy they didn't get their way. Hey, in life, you're not always going to get your way. You're not always going to win at everything. You're going to have more losses than victories. But if you keep pushing through those losses and keep things together and stay positive, eventually you're going to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. In my opinion, and I've grown to learn this, my father and mother raised me to be this way. In my opinion, if you try hard to accomplish something and someone else beats you out, sure, it sucks to lose, right? And it may suck to lose to a fierce competitor. But you want to know what makes you a better person and a stronger person, and you want to know what people respect the most is when you can lose to someone, a strong competitor, you can lose to someone, just like Trump lost to Biden. And then you walk away maturely and you say, you know what? Sucks to lose, but you know what? I lost to a great competitor. Congratulations. I wish you the best of luck. If there's anything you need from me, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you, and I'll make this transition as smoothly as possible for you, right? See, that would have been the mature thing that Trump could have done. And that's what most mature men or people in general, men and women, will do. That's the way they'll handle things. Lewis Fuller says, I am back. I got booted out YouTube. What do you mean? You got logged? They logged you out, or did they ban? They didn't ban your channel, did they, Lewis? You have a good, clean channel, just like mine. Let me check out the Facebook side of things real quick and see what's going on. I've got somebody I haven't connected with in a while. Craig, how you doing, man, on the Facebook side of things? Craig says, sorry, Elias, American politics is about big government and small government. America was always great before Bill Clinton centered the jobs of the American worker by signing NAFTA into law and allowing China to join the WTO. How have liberals tried to reverse that? Explain that on your show. Well, obviously, Craig, you're a right-winger. And maybe and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, dude. I respect everyone's views, and we can agree to disagree and still be friends. At least I hope we can. I don't know where, you stand, Craig, whether you're slightly to the right, far right, or whether you're alt-right. But typically, and I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just sharing my experiences of 4 years of being out here on YouTube and dealing with many right-wing extremists and people from the alt-right. What you wrote to me kind of sounds like an alt-right type of response. And that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, sir, and I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. If we go back to the Clinton days, did Clinton do everything right? No, but he did a lot of great things. But I'm not even worried about what happened back then. What I'm concerned about the most right now is what this current president, during his less than 2 weeks left in office, is doing to harm this country. And what he ended up doing today was despicable, in my opinion. Was absolutely despicable. So despicable, it could have created a major disaster at Capitol Hill. And I want to get into this right now and share my thoughts. If you haven't heard, folks, we had some runoff elections in Georgia. I know that, what was I going to say? How do I word this properly? Let me just check real quick and see if the results have been finalized. Let me see if they've been finalized. Yeah, so it's still not finalized, but it looks like at the end of the day that the Democrats are going to sweep the Senate runoff election, and that means now our entire government is going to be controlled by Democrats. So the House, the Senate, all of Congress, and the White House are all going to be blue. Now, I understand that a lot of right-wingers are not going to be happy with this or aren't happy about this, and maybe that's part of what, caused the riot at Capitol Hill today. That may be a part of it. Obviously, it was primarily incited by Trump's rally earlier nearby in the same area today. We'll get to that in just a second. But I want to share my thoughts about how having an all-blue government, I feel, is going to help get things back on track, even for the far right, the slight right, and the alt-right. How I feel this, how I feel the next 4 years are going to make things better for all Americans. Lewis Fuller says, what happened today was unacceptable. it wasn't only unacceptable, Lewis, it was practically destructive. It was practically destructive. And in my opinion, it's something that's going to be very hard to recover from. It's going to be very hard for the Republican Party to recover from the actions incited by President Donald J. Trump at his rally today in D.C. near Capitol Hill. So again, I understand that everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone has, their say. And I understand how the right feels. I understand how the left feels. But at the end of the day, I've always said this. Why are we spending more time fighting and being violent and attacking each other rather than sitting down and try to meet in the middle and accomplish better greatness for everyone, the left, the right, people down the middle like me, independents, whatever your political party preferences or your views are. At the end of the day, we're all Americans. We are Americans. Do you folks not understand that? This is something I've had a problem with since I was a little kid. I could never really understand the purpose of having the left and the right. I thought America was about unity and justice for all. I thought America was about unity and justice for all. Where's the unity been lately? Where has the unity been lately? Has this current president that's going to be ousted in less than 2 weeks on January 20th, 2021, where's the unity been from him? And again, like I said on yesterday's show, does this current president really even care about the people that support him, or is he just using them to fight his battles? Is he using these people to lash back because of the fact that he lost re-election and he's a sore loser? And he's going to do whatever he can while he's still in office to create as much chaos and havoc and make it as difficult of a transition for Biden and his staff as possible. Let me go back and check Facebook and see if there are any other responses there. Well, got nothing else. I guess Craig took off. No big deal, Craig. I was answering your question, or maybe you're still trying to think about how you want to respond. And anyway, give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second here. All right. I had to respond to that text message real quick. So let's get further into this. And if Craig or anyone else on the Facebook side has anything else to say, I'll check in on the Facebook side every now and then. So today, President Trump, threw a big rally in the D.C. area near Capitol Hill. This rally was titled, Save America, the Save America rally. Save America from what? From your shenanigans? From you continuing to destroy it with your actions and behaviors and your selfishness, and you going golfing every day instead of tackling this pandemic that's continuing to kill people daily and infect people daily? And then you still are complaining that there's been widespread voter fraud, which there hasn't been. There has absolutely been zero evidence of widespread voter fraud. And President Trump, you've even taken it to a federal level, and even people that you put in the position of the federal court system said that these are baseless claims. Your own people that you put in those positions are trying to tell you that you're making a fool out of yourself, but they're doing it professionally, right? But Trump got on stage. I think he talked for over an hour. I was watching the first 30 minutes of it, maybe 40 minutes of it. Then I had to turn it off because it was the same thing over and over and over again. He just kept on talking about how the election was rigged, how the Dominion voting machines were messed up. It was just the same recycled garbage over and over and over again. Hey, Adelaide's Advice Addict, welcome to the show. Your brother Lewis is in here as well. So Trump had a ton of people show up at this rally, a ton of right-wingers, probably more so right-wing extremists, people from the alt-right, and maybe some people just from the slight right there to support him. And I'll give it to Trump. He's a great speaker. He's a great public speaker. It takes one to know one. I've been doing public speaking for forever now. So I know what it takes to get people interested. I know how to speak, what words to say, how to use the influx of my voice to elevate certain things and to bring certain things down. I know what it takes to get people to feel how I'm feeling or how I want them to feel by maybe pretending how I'm feeling. I don't pretend, but I know Trump does. So Trump basically was speaking in a way to where I can only imagine how these Trump supporters were feeling. They were probably getting enraged because they support this guy so much that anything that pretty much comes out of his mouth, they believe. And when Trump emphasizes certain things, using voice, influx and all that, it starts to boil these people within. They start to get angry, and they start to, flare up on the inside, right? Now, many people were saying what happened after this rally when a bunch of people attacked Capitol Hill and busted in to Capitol Hill was incited by Trump. I absolutely agree with them. Think about it. Why in the world would Trump set up a big rally in D.C. nearby the Capitol building on the same day that the election results are going to be certified at a final level? Why would he do that? Because he was hoping, without directly saying it, he would engulf and enrage fire with his supporters so much that they would go to Capitol Hill and they would bust in and prevent democracy from happening, prevent Congress finalizing the results and officially making Joe Biden the president of the U.S. and Kamala Harris the vice president. Adelaide's Advice Addict says Trump might as well have told everyone to go home and come back with your guns. Right. Speaking of which, Adelaide's Advice Addict, I've been watching a lot of YouTube today, a lot of far right or at least somewhat right-wing content creators and their audience. They're all angry and bitter, right? They're all saying, oh, Biden and Harris and the Democrats are going to take away our rights to bear arms. Well, in my opinion, from lunatics like you folks, they should. I don't think anyone that's loony should be able to carry a gun. If you're not mentally and emotionally stable, you should not be allowed to carry a gun. And unfortunately, a lot of these Trump supporters are not the most mentally and emotionally stable people. They cannot contain their emotions. They cannot even accept the fact that Trump lost. So we're going to trust them to carry a gun? When they can't accept something as simple that's a proven fact that Trump lost the election, we're supposed to trust the fact that they could carry a gun? Come on. Now, here's the thing. You know, you've got freedom of speech, the First Amendment, Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. This is a big amendment with many right-wingers. You don't hear a lot about the Second Amendment coming from the left. Why is that? Why do you not hear a lot about the Second Amendment coming from the left? Because honestly, most people on the left don't believe in violence. We don't feel that things should have to resort to violence. The only time that I feel the need to get physical is if there's no other choice. If I have a family and my family's being attacked by someone and I'm trying to stop this person or people from coming at my family, and they threaten my family in such a way that I feel they're in danger, at that point and only that point, I would resort to something physical. But besides that, there's no need to resort to violence. Why do a lot of these conservatives feel the need to have to resort to violence to handle things that can be handled properly, professionally, and maturely? This is not about the left wanting to take away your Second Amendment rights. This is about the left saying that we've got a bunch of mentally incompetent and unstable people in this world that should not be given certain privileges that more mentally competent and mentally stable and emotionally stable people should have. I think before people are given certain rights, especially the right to bear arms, the right to bear arms, a gun that can shoot someone and kill someone, before you're given the right to own your own gun and carry a gun, we need to make sure that you're mentally and emotionally stable enough to only use that gun in situations where you feel your life is in jeopardy and there's nothing else you can do to protect yourself or your family, right? Give me 1 second here, folks. Hang on. My apologies. Adelaide's Advice Addict says, I don't like guns, but I think if you're mentally and emotionally stable, you can have a gun. I would take away the guns that shoot 100 bullets a second like AK-47s. I agree with you on that. You can't legally buy an AK-47 here in the U.S. anyway. There's always a black market and all that. But any gun can kill somebody. And if you're going to allow people to purchase guns, that's fine, but they need to qualify, and they should have to pass a rigorous mental and emotional stability test, and they should also have to check in once a year to renew their license, because people's emotional and mental stability changes over the course of time. I think we need to have stricter gun control and stricter laws to prevent people from flipping out and shooting someone because they lost it emotionally and mentally. This is the thing that the far right or the right wingers don't understand. Look, hey, us left wingers, we're not trying to take away your gun rights or our gun rights. What we're saying is that we want to make sure that guns only get into people that are responsible with guns. What part of that don't you all understand? But all you do is whine and complain that the left is going to take away all your rights. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not about taking away anyone's rights. We're about doing the right thing and protecting innocent people from getting hurt because people are a little cuckoo, right? Do you people on the right feel that people that are cuckoo and mentally incompetent and emotionally unstable should have the right to bear arms? Is that what you're saying? Come on. So Trump basically was inciting people. He got people to show up at his rally in D.C. Tons of people, right? Then he was stirring up the pot by continuing to say there's widespread voter fraud still and blah, 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 which there hasn't been any widespread voter fraud. He continues to spin this narrative. Even though I think he knows there wasn't any widespread voter fraud, I think what he's trying to do is lash back before he gets booted out of office on January 20th, 2021. I think what he's trying to do is make it as miserable of a transition as possible because this guy's not a man. This guy's a big baby. He's a sore loser. And he's like, okay, maybe in his head he's accepted he's lost, but he's like, I'm going to go out in style, right? I'm going to make a mockery of our democracy, right? I'm going to make a mockery of our democracy. And that's what he's doing. This guy's making a mockery out of our democracy. And to you right-wingers that support him, you're making yourselves look bad. He's making you folks look bad. And you don't realize that. So after the rally, a bunch of these people from the rally, they go over to Capitol Hill where, they were doing the final certification of the Electoral College votes. Where Congress was there and, they were going to do the final certification, right? This is the final step that officially puts, Biden and Harris in office, right? So what happened? These people go to Capitol Hill. I saw video of these guys climbing up the wall. If these guys fell down, they could have died or at least sprained an ankle or break an ankle or something, right? Literally climbing up the wall, busting into the Capitol building. And I'm thinking to myself, where the hell's security? Weren't they ready for this? Or what the heck happened? Did Trump pay him off? How in the world did these people bust in and do what they did and do all the damage they did? And then an innocent woman gets caught in the line of fire and takes a bullet in the neck, I believe it was the neck, and was later pronounced dead at the hospital. This is unbelievable, folks. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Broke my heart to hear that. It broke my heart to hear that the president would incite such a thing. Just a very sad day. Now, folks, I've been on for 39 minutes. I'm going to step away and take a quick 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. Then I'm going to come back for another maybe 15, 20 minutes and share my final thoughts. I'm also going to share some information that you may have seen by now, where Trump's Twitter, Facebook, and I believe Instagram have been suspended because of the insightful messages he was putting out there that violate the terms of service. It's unbelievable to me what this guy's been able to get away with. The abuse of power. The abuse of power. The lack of integrity. That's just unbelievable. So I'm going to cue up some music, clear my head, because this just really gets to me. I really wish people would just get along. I really wish people wouldn't fight over stupid things. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and going to cue up the music before I say something that's not right. All right, give me a second here, folks. Give me a second here. All right, that's a couple more songs. All right, folks, I'm going to step away for a 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. When we return, I'm going to get into an article that was written earlier tonight regarding Trump's Twitter being suspended and possibly could be even getting removed. You're going to want to stick around for that and my final thoughts. So stick around. We'll be right back. good. No matter what happens, I always feel good because I love living my life in the most positive ways possible. Despite what comes my way, despite what happens, I take with a grain of salt and I move forward and I look forward to bigger, better, and brighter days. And that's what I feel we have coming to our wonderful nation here in the U.S. Whether you're on the left or the right, down the middle or whatever, brighter days are coming. I promise you that. I feel it. Yeah. Take a moment to just listen to the soothing music. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. All right. Oh, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Bigger, better, and brighter days are up ahead. Bigger, better, and brighter days are up ahead. With that being said, welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli live here on YouTube. It is after midnight on the East Coast, 12:15 a.m. Eastern Time, 9:15 p.m. Pacific Time here in my neck of the woods. I'm in the beautiful, glorious, amazing San Francisco Bay Area in Northern California, San Mateo County, Redwood City to be exact. Climate best by government test. I love where I live and I love my life, and I hope you also love where you live and love your life. And I hope you are the type of person that can just learn to roll with the punches, not make a big deal out of things, and just move forward. And instead of contributing to hate, try to diffuse hate, ignore the hate, and radiate positivity. We need more positive people in this world. Why can't you folks understand that? Why? Lewis Fuller says, I'm watching your ads. Well, thank you, Lewis. I appreciate that. That's part of the YouTube thing. That's how YouTube stays in business, and I get it. And I appreciate that, bro. But what I more so appreciate that you're here watching the content, you're supporting the content, and you're a good guy. And I am proud to be your friend. That's the most important thing to me. But thank you. Thank you for watching the ads to allow, this channel to continue moving forward on the YouTube side of things, and to also help YouTube make the money they need to keep the platform going. It costs a lot of money for platforms like YouTube to run a great service like this. So thank you for that. Now, tonight, the topic of the stream, the show, is Trump's mental stability questioned, Twitter account suspended. We're going to throw in Facebook and Instagram as well, because that's what's happened. And riots at Capitol Hill, and much, much more. What an eventful day for President Donald J. Trump during his last few weeks of office. He wants to make it as eventful and crazy as possible. One more time. Let's just read that one more time so we can all let it soak in. Trump's mental stability questioned. His mental stability has been questioned by people in government. When your own government that you're running as the president questions your mental stability, does that not say something? Does that not speak for itself? Twitter account suspended. We're going to get to that in just a second. That was interesting. Riots at Capitol Hill and much, much more. I talked about the riots in the first half of the show. If you missed that, please go back and check out the replay if you're watching this live, and you'll hear my thoughts about that. Okay. But before I get to the Twitter thing, I want to once again say this. I want to make it very clear. I love everybody equally. I love people. You know, a lot of people in our country here in the U.S. make it about left versus right, Democrats versus Republicans, liberals versus conservatives, or elephants versus donkeys, right? I have to ask you folks, are you an elephant, a donkey, or an American? What are you? Are you an elephant, a donkey, or an American? I'm an American. I'm a Greek American. My family came here from Greece, and I'm proud of my heritage and my roots from Greece. But I was born here in the U.S., and I'm proud to be an American. I am proud to be an American living in the greatest nation in the world. I feel it's a privilege to be able to live here. It is a privilege. And so many people abuse that privilege. And they get away with it. I have seen so many people do things to violate the law and violate that privilege of being an American. And nothing happens to them. Nothing happens to them. Lewis Fuller says, "You're welcome. My pleasure. I love watching everybody's ads. Donald Trump has been a naughty president." Well, you're saying it politely, bro, and I appreciate that you're being polite. I'm not here to attack the president or anyone. I'm here to state the facts. I'm here to share how this makes me feel. I'm a normal human being. I am mentally and emotionally competent and stable. I don't have an ounce of hate in my blood. But when I see hate coming from other people, I try to help those people. Even though it's difficult to help them, I try to help them, right? And I can somewhat understand, the average everyday person, behaving somewhat in the way that President Trump's been behaving. What I can't put together, what I can't fathom is how our president of the United States can behave this way in the highest government position in our country here that's supposed to protect the country, protect and serve the country. Your job, President Trump, has been to protect and serve the country. Instead, you become angry and bitter and jealous of the fact that you couldn't win re-election. So instead of walking away gracefully, you rally up your troops that you know deep within. And I hate to say this, a lot of the people that support Trump, and I'm not trying to be rude, and I'm not trying to criticize or stereotype, I'm just stating the facts. A lot of these people that support Trump, okay, are mentally and emotionally unstable. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, I'm just stating the facts. They're lower class people, they come from nothing, they've had to work extra hard just to barely survive, and I feel for these people. But because they're in that position and they've been struggling, people that struggle technically or typically are in a more rough mental and emotional state. So they're very easy to manipulate. And that's what Trump has done. He's manipulated these people to trigger them so much and to incite so much hate against, the left, the blue, the Democrats, saying that you think it's bad now for you folks? It's going to get worse when they're in office, so we need to stop this, and you need to help me stop this, right? So what are these people thinking in their head? What can we do to stop this, right? Well, we're at a rally in D.C. We're close by to the Capitol building. Let's go and fight for our president. Let's go and bust into the Capitol building and create havoc and try to stop Biden from getting into office. This is unlike anything I've ever seen, folks. This is unlike anything I've ever seen. Again, this is not about left versus right. It's not about Democrats versus Republicans. It's not about liberals versus conservatives. And it's not even about donkeys and elephants. It's about Americans. We are Americans. We are Americans. Are you proud to be an American? Because if you're a true American, you are not a hateful and spiteful person, and you are not a person that incites violence. Real Americans don't incite violence. They protect and serve other Americans. We have enough issues with other countries that should be resolved, right? But for us to fight within our own country, come on. That's called infighting. Why are we fighting amongst ourselves? I don't get that. Why are we fighting amongst ourselves? Why is the country divided? Why? Why is the country divided? So what should we do? What should we do? Should we take all the red states and the blue states and just divide them and make them two separate countries? How do you think we should tackle this, right? How do you folks on the right think we should tackle this? How do you folks on the left think we should tackle this? My thoughts have always been to get rid of the political party choices. Get rid of Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and we'll make everyone independent. How about we just make everyone independent, right? We don't have red and blue, left and right. We just have people running for office. We don't have an electoral college system. We have a popular vote system. We vote the person in that gets the most votes. Get rid of the political parties, and we unite. We're the United States of America. United States of America in unity and justice for all. What part of that has existed in the last 4 years? I mean, we were still struggling with uniting before that time, but over the last 4 years, what Trump has done to destroy democracy and make this worse than it already was has not created more unity, and it's created more segregation and separation. Okay, folks, let me go ahead and do this. Let me go and switch over to the browser screen. I have this article I'm going to go over. Come on, why isn't that popping up? There it goes. And this is from the SF Chronicle newspaper website. I used to get the San Francisco Chronicle delivered in my younger days until everything pretty much went online. And now with smartphones, we don't need newspapers anymore because we get more instant information, right? So the title of this article is Twitter locked Trump's account, but here's why it hasn't deleted it. This was written today, January 6th, 2021 at 7:28 p.m. Pacific time. So this was not that long ago. This is very, very recent. Twitter took the unprecedented step Wednesday of yanking 3 of President Trump's tweets and temporarily locking his account after he gave a speech and inflamed the mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol in a bid to install him in a second term. Wow. Wow. So we legitimately lose the election. Then we sue anyone and everyone possible, claiming that there's widespread voter fraud, which there never was any, right? We take it to the Supreme Court, and even the Supreme Court justices that were put in there by Donald Trump were telling him, we can't do anything about this because there's no evidence. There's zero evidence. So he tried that aspect, that avenue, tried suing anyone and everyone and got nowhere because he had no leg to stand on, right? And as a last-ditch effort, when all else failed, he creates this rally on the same day where Congress has been set to finalize and certify the Electoral College votes, and then get ready for Inauguration Day on January 20th, 2021. Because all else failed, Trump creates a rally, and in fancy ways, without actually coming out and saying it, incited his group of supporters that were nearby the Capitol building to basically go and attack the Capitol building, which they did. As I shared more about at the beginning, but, in case you missed it, hey, they stormed the Capitol building. They basically were able to breach security. I don't know how the heck that happened. I don't know how the heck security was not prepared for this, didn't expect this. Or maybe, who knows, Trump may have paid them off. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Just my opinion. And an innocent woman takes a bullet to the neck and later is pronounced dead at the hospital. Someone loses their life. The great thing is, Congress resumed shortly afterwards. And now, because of this delay and delays of certain states, challenging the votes in their state, it further delayed the process to the point of where Congress is going to they're going to go into the wee hours of the night before this is done. They may have to go a second day. I'll have to check in and find out what's going on afterwards. After I end this stream, and maybe I'll do an update tomorrow. As a result of the unprecedented and ongoing violent situation in Washington, D.C., we have required the removal of 3 @Real Donald Trump tweets that were protested earlier. That were posted earlier today for repeated and severe violations of our civic integrity policy. No kidding. Donnie, you violated Twitter's civic integrity policy. In my opinion, Donnie, you violated what it takes to be a real man, in my opinion. You're not behaving like a grown man. You're behaving worse than a 2-year-old little baby. It's pathetic, man. It's pathetic. Twitter's safety enforcement team said in a tweet, Twitter made the tweets unavailable. The company said if Trump removed them, the account would be locked for 12 hours, and if he didn't, the account would remain locked. Good. Good. This is a president that tried to change Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act for situations like these. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act protects social media companies such as Twitter, YouTube, Facebook from being sued for situations like these, where it gives them the right to remove certain postings that violate their guidelines within reason. Trump's tweets did not only violate community guidelines, they're just stupid and pathetic, in my opinion, as well. They just, in my opinion, rules or no rules. Why would any man behave this way, let alone the President of the United States? Does he not realize how he's coming off and appearing to people? Now, his supporters, they're going to fight to the death for him, right? But like I said earlier, a lot of his supporters, no disrespect, these are just the facts, this is what I see, they're a little mentally and emotionally challenged, or maybe very mentally and emotionally challenged. But to people that are mentally and emotionally stable and competent and see this happening, they're like, this is ridiculous. Rules or no rules. Why any man anywhere behaving this way is bad, let alone the President of the United States? Come on. One of the tweets called Vice President Mike Pence a coward for not helping Trump illegally reverse his election loss. Another praised the Capitol rioters. So this is a president that basically was pressuring his own vice president that's in charge of running these proceedings today at Capitol Hill to basically, disqualify the election, pretty much, in a nutshell. When they first came to order at the beginning, earlier in the morning, I was watching to see what Pence would do. And before they even started, Pence put out a statement saying that he has no constitutional authority to make such a decision that Trump asked him to do. Now, even if he did, in my honest opinion, I don't think Mike Pence would have done what Donald Trump requested him to do, or basically forced him to do. It's just wrong. This is what I respect about some Republicans. The ones that are reasonable. Yes, we may have a difference in our political views, but a Republican like Trump and some other Republicans that spoke throughout the course of the day were basically saying, in other words, that what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. It has nothing to do with left versus right. It has to simply do with the fact of what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Do I think Pence, if he had the right to, basically throw out the election and discredit the whole thing due to widespread voter fraud that Trump has been claiming has been happening, which it hasn't? Do I think Pence would have done that? I don't think Pence would have done it. I don't think Pence would have done it. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. So because the president didn't get his way with his vice president, he calls him a coward publicly on Twitter. How professional is that from the commander-in-chief to do? And another praised Capitol rioters. So Donnie, you're thanking your people for busting into the Capitol building, killing one person, and it could have been worse. And you're okay with that? And you wonder why people in Congress and in the government are questioning your mental stability? Because I personally question your mental and emotional stability. This is ridiculous. I have never, ever, ever, ever seen anything like this in the history of our democracy. Ever, ever. A third was a video message in which Trump falsely claimed that the presidential election was fraudulent before telling rioters to go home. Keep saying that all you want, Donnie. The jig is up. This was your last hurrah. This was your last ploy to try to illegally flip the election. It failed miserably. But it came at the expense of an innocent woman's life. Do you care that a woman lost her life over what I feel is your stupidity? Because you're a jealous and enraged person that cannot accept defeat? You had to run that. You had 4 years in office. The country spoke. They no longer want you in office. Own up to it, deal with it, and move on. Be a better person. Why can't you do that? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Twitter had followed Facebook's lead in removing a similar video, so Facebook removed him too. This is an emergency situation, and we are taking appropriate emergency measures, including removing President Trump's video, tweeted Guy Rosen, Facebook's vice president of integrity. Yeah, good job, Facebook. I think you should ban the guy permanently. This guy's a menace to society, and you guys don't get it. Like, I'm not trying to talk this way about our president, but for Christ's sake, what more is it going to take for you folks to realize there's something wrong with this guy? Is it going to take our entire nation imploding? Is it going to take our entire nation dissipating, blowing up? What's it going to take? We removed it because, on balance, we believe it contributes to rather than diminishes the risk of ongoing violence. Of course, he was inciting violence. He's an angry and bitter old man that lost fair and square. He's a sore loser. So now he wants to make as much noise as he can by doing the crazy stuff he's doing before he's ousted on January 20th, 2021, later on this year, in less than 2 weeks. But the president's Twitter account was not deleted. A step Twitter takes in some cases, and some on the social media service were asking why. Okay, let's find out why. Let's find out why. He's violated many things. The issue is not new. Twitter has a policy against tweets that incite violence that it does not apply to all users. But it flared again during the extraordinary events Wednesday after Trump addressed a rally on the National Mall aimed at protesting the presidential election results shortly before Congress convened to certify President-elect Joe Biden's victory. Yeah, he was inciting his people to do what they ended up doing. Twitter specifically exempts the leaders of countries from its anti-violence policy. I think they should treat everyone equally. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how powerful of a person you are, you follow the rules. As the President of the United States, he or she should be setting the example for everyone else, so they should not be getting any special privileges. Company leaders have argued that the world leaders policy allows people to see what important political figures say, and that censoring them would take away from political discourse. Yes, to a certain extent, which is why you folks at Twitter decided to remove his stuff and lock out his account. Because this guy's flipped his marbles, and you folks are saying that, yeah, he's flipped his marbles. He's flipped his marbles. This goes above and beyond the anti-violence policy, the exemption of the anti-violence policy from world leaders. In his speech Wednesday, Trump increased his pressure on Pence to illegally throw the election to him and lambasted the electoral process, both political parties and the media. We will never concede, Trump declared. Well, that's fine, Trump. You don't ever have to concede. The bottom line is you're getting ousted on January 20th, 2021, whether you concede or not. You can sit there and whine like a little baby for as long as you want, but once you get out of that office, the rules change for you. You've been kind of semi-protected because you're the president, and you've been taking advantage of the system that you're supposed to be running, right? And leading by example. But once you're out of that office, this is going to be a new world for you, Donnie. Oh, man, I can't wait to see what happens once he's out of office. That's going to get interesting. Because if he pulls this stuff out of office, he's going to be in a whole world of legal doo-doo. And maybe more. Maybe more. He tweeted a video of his appearance at the Save America March. In his speech, he complained about Twitter's policies. Every time I put out a tweet, even if it's totally correct, I get a flag. What's correct about you saying there's widespread voter fraud? You've had no proof. You've sued everybody. You've even gone to the Supreme Court with justices that you put in there, and they said you have no evidence. What part of that don't you understand, sir? Twitter sometimes flags politicians' tweets that contains falsehoods. This is a complete falsehood. This is completely false. Twitter did the right thing. A step short of removing the tweet or suspending the account. Shortly after the congressional session convened, a mob broke into the Capitol, halting the electoral process. Pence was escorted from the Senate chamber, and the building was locked down. Trump then tweeted that Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done. No, sir. Pence has a lot more courage than you will ever have. I have a lot more respect for Mike Pence than I will ever have for you. Pence proved to not only the U.S., but the world today that he is not going to be controlled on his own individual thought process, and he's going to bring what he has to bring to the table to democracy and apply it according to the laws and the Constitution, etc. I can't believe any president would put his vice president in the position that Trump put Pence in. Pence, you handled it with grace and integrity. Despite the fact I'm slightly left, I have a lot of respect for you, Mike Pence, and the way you handled this. A lot of respect for you, sir. God bless you. Twitter first marked the tweet with the label, "This claim of election fraud is disputed and this tweet can't be replied to, retweeted, or liked due to a risk of violence." It subsequently made the tweet unavailable with a message saying this tweet is no longer available because it violated the Twitter rules. Good. It did violate the rules. It did completely violate the rules. It's pathetic. Trump also issued the tweet praising the Capitol rioters and the video message, both of which Twitter subsequently made unavailable. Yeah, you got a president inciting violence and then praising people for attacking the Capitol building. Sir, you're the president of the United States of America. And you tell your people to attack one of your own buildings? Are you out of your mind, sir? Have you lost all of your marbles, sir? Let me check Facebook real quick. Nothing going on Facebook. Okay. All right. We are good. We are good. Let's continue. But angry Twitter users called on the company to suspend Trump's account entirely for encouraging violence and protests in the Capitol. You should delete him permanently. Every social media company should delete this guy. He should not be allowed to have a voice on the internet based on what he's done. Yes, we all have freedom of speech, but freedom of speech and violence and hate speech are not a part of our First Amendment. That is one thing that right-wingers could never understand, especially the extremists and the alt-right. Maybe some of the right-wingers on the slight right, think a little differently, like some of the members in Congress did earlier today when they mentioned, hey, you know what? Our party lost. And yes, we're not that happy about that, but Joe Biden did win fair and square. And we got to do what's right for our democracy. If we overturn the voters, the citizens, and the way they voted and who they voted for, they're never going to trust us again. You're right. You're right. Absolutely right. I respect those conservatives, those liberals, those Republicans. Not those liberals, sorry. I respect those conservatives, those Republicans. Sorry, I'm a little distraught by this whole thing. I apologize. I respect those conservatives, Republicans that stood up for what's right, despite the fact that their party didn't win the election. You are a private company, not a government entity. One Twitter user wrote, someone calling for violence, hate, and sedation is outside the rules of your non-government-owned platform. Shut him down. I agree. He should get shut down. He should get shut down. He's had many chances. Twitter's choice to keep Trump's account active has been a long contested issue of the internet. Despite hundreds of instances where the president has tweeted fraudulent or misleading claims about the election, his political opponents, COVID-19, and so forth. They're giving him his right to freedom of speech. But when he takes it a bit too far and incites hate and violence and people dying, they did the right thing by taking action. But the company's world leaders policy, published in October 2019, regulates tweets by political figures differently from its normal safety policies. If a tweet from a world leader does violate the Twitter rules, but there is a clear public interest value to keeping the tweet on the service, we may place it behind a note that provides context about the violation and allow people to click through should they wish to see the content the policy states. Well, that sounds fair. That's a good way to do it. But this was even too much for that. And I agree. Twitter said that no matter who is tweeting, actions that could lead to enforcement include promotion of terrorism, which is what Trump did, and clear and direct threats of violence against an individual, which is what Trump did. He did all that. So Twitter did the right thing. They did. Twitter added, in other cases involving a world leader, we will err on the side of leaving the content up if there is a clear public interest in doing so. Now, I read another article, folks, which I'm not going to show here today. I'm just going to mention briefly, that said, if Trump does continue to violate Twitter's policies, Facebook policies, and other policies on social media, that they will remove him permanently. And come January 20th, 2021, I read another article that they're no longer going to give him special privilege on his Twitter account and other social media accounts. So what's going to happen then? Here's my prediction. Trump is going to continue going off on this widespread voter fraud. He's going to continue to incite hate and violence and try to turn this around. He's going to continue to stir up people that feel, that Donald has their best interest in his head and heart when he doesn't. He's going to continue manipulating these people that believe everything that comes out of his mouth to do his dirty work for him. It's going to shut him down out of Twitter, Facebook, and all over the internet. Donald, mark my words. And this is how I'm going to wrap this up here tonight, folks. Mark my words. Once Donald's out of office, it's only a matter of time before he has his freedom of speech silenced. Not because we want to silence it, not because Twitter, Facebook, or anyone else wants to silence it. It is because it needs to be silenced. It is toxic. It is abusive. It is hateful. It is insightful. It is destroying our country. It is dividing our country. It has already done it, but it continues to do it. The only way a person like this is ever going to stop is if action is taken to stop them and not give them a voice they don't deserve to have. Either that or put him in jail for the rest of his life. I'm sure after Donald Trump is out of office, after January 20th, a lot of legal stuff is going to come his way. You're going to see this. This guy is going to be in a lot of legal battles. And maybe that's what he wants, because this is what a lot of people like him, a lot of extremists like Trump, this is what they do once they no longer have the spotlight in a position such as being the president of the U.S. They still want that spotlight, so they have to do crazy things that's going to keep all eyes on them. Trump is going to continue doing those crazy things, and people are going to keep coming at him legally, and he's going to be in the news almost each and every day. And what he's going to try to do is basically create a distraction to the great message and the great things that the Biden-Harris campaign are going to be doing for us. Don't let Donald Trump do that to you, folks. Whether you're on the left or the right, just understand the right thing is going to be done for all Americans starting on January 20th, 2021. Whether you believe me or not, whether you love me or you hate me, whether you're left, right, down the middle, it doesn't matter. What matters is what happens that helps the best overall aspects of Americans, not just the left or the right, Americans. I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American. And I hope that you're proud to be an American too. Please share your thoughts. If you end up watching this on the replay, share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And I'll get back to you folks as soon as possible. With that being said, have yourselves a great night, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye. Bye.